All those talented players' names are inked on the dotted lines. They sweated it out and bled it out throughout summer workouts. Fall workouts are here and all the kids are back on campuses. With that being said, what is the freshman expectations for the Texas Longhorns in the class of 2022? They had 28 new freshman enrollees. They finished first in the Big 12 and 5th overall nationally. That massive 28 class had 7-8 offensive linemen, a very talented and large group of young men, 6 fast and explosive defensive backs, 8 defensive linemen, including the edge rushers that are willing to make plays, 2 wide receivers, 1 linebacker, a very talented and large quarterback in Malik Murphy, 1 running back, and 2 special teams players. And in this video, I intend on breaking down if a player was going to be a starter, if he's going to contribute some, maybe play 4 or 5 games, get in the mix in a little bit, or is just going to be a 100% redshirt candidate. But first, this is AK reminding you to, subscribe to the show. Before we get started in today's video, I might be using a few terms that you're not quite familiar with. One is going to be a red shirt. What a red shirt is a player who's only allowed up to play in 4 games their freshman season, and they are allowed to retain their freshman status and have 4 more years of eligibility left. A player. This is someone who's just going to be in 4 to 6 games, get into the rotation, but really not going to push for a starter, but is going to get some reps in enough ball games to meet that 4 to 5 games to be not being a red shirt candidate. And a starter, obviously you know what I mean by a starter, someone who comes out with the first team, but that might not necessarily be week 1, 2, or 3, just necessarily some time during the season throughout their freshman campaign. Thanks a lot, enjoy the video. And bam, there you have it. Class of 2022 football commits for your Texas Longhorns. As you can see, as promised, 28 enrollees, 5th overall in the class of 2022 by 247 Sports, and that is the overall composite that I do use. I believe they are creme de la creme and top of the mark there in that recruiting composite rankings. And moving along, like I did say, I'm going to tell you if a player I believe is going to be a starter, which are going to be very few of them obviously going to be. If they're going to contribute in some of the games, 4 or 5, get their feet wet, get in a little bit of action, contribute some. Or if they're just not really going to be much play at all, going to be a redshirt candidate, need to get that body right, need to add a little bit more weight, need to understand the schematics of the position. Maybe if they're switching positions, maybe they're an athlete coming out of high school, such as Savion Red or Xavier Bryce, or maybe they just need to get a little bigger, a little stronger, a little faster, like Mr. D. Brown. Those are going to be some reasons why someone would quite redshirt. Okay, moving along, and our number 1 overall commit, interior offensive lineman Devon Campbell. DJ Campbell is someone that I was very interested in the Texas Longhorns the whole entire recruitment process, and the big man finally landed on campus. He was not an early enrollee as part of the 7 major offensive linemen in this class. Devon Campbell will most definitely benefit from their injury of Junior Aguilar. And is he going to be a starter, a contributor, or a redshirt? Most definitely not a redshirt. I believe DJ Campbell will probably be a starter, if not by the Alabama game. There soon thereafter, the 2nd or 3rd game is whenever I see Devon Campbell making an impact. The 6'3" interior offensive lineman is just too powerful. Probably the best offensive lineman in terms of athletic ability, as he did play basketball for Arlington Bowie and was known to dunk in the games earlier in warm-ups. DJ Campbell, a really good athlete, a really good football player, and without a doubt, you're not going to be a redshirt candidate. I view as a starter in the 2nd or 3rd game. Moving on to another major primetime prospect, another 5-star offensive lineman. This is going to be from Summer Creek, Kelvin Banks. And if you do not know the name Kelvin Banks, man, you better recognize this large man out of Humboldt, Texas. 6'5", 300 pounds, nationally rated 33 overall, and he is an offensive lineman body. A true left tackle, is absolutely fantastic in pass pro. Needs to get a little bit bigger, a little stronger in the run game, but pass pro is most definitely there. And I hate to say it, I hate to start out with back-to-back starters on the offensive line. Think I'm cherry picking here a little bit, but bam, I have Kelvin Banks as a week 1 starter. Absolutely pushing Andre Carrick to the max. Absolutely pushing him to the limit. Will that shuffle Andre Carrick into the inside interior offensive lineman with the Junior Aguilera injury? I'm not quite sure, but I see Kelvin Banks is already pushing him to his limit, and I see the young man as a week 1 starter. He can reach across you in the room with this large wingspan. He has a plus frame with that 6'5" wingspan, 300 pounds. This is what a offensive lineman looks like. A first-round offensive lineman is going to look like coming straight out of high school. Terrence Brooks from Little Elm, 4-star, nationally rated, 83 overall, 5'11", 190 pounds. But he does have that plus wingspan that we are looking for these cornerbacks, folks. Those defensive backs need to have long and lanky arms so they can get up and disrupt the play and get up and in those wide receivers' faces and disrupt them, make their lives difficult. Terrence Brooks, I do not see him being a starter. I do not see him being a redshirt. I really see him really get a lot of opportunities to make plays in special teams. I do see him getting in late in games in plug play, some spot play. I don't see him as a starter. I do see him as a guy that's probably getting 4 to 6 games. So not redshirting Terrence Brooks, the cornerback from Little Elm, by my personal opinion. Nito Umulazulu, fantastic player from Allen, Texas, 6'4", 285 pounds. Another interior offensive lineman, a great offensive lineman as far as his athleticism. The body needs to develop a little bit raw as an athlete. From the offensive lineman position. He is viewed as an interior offensive lineman, but man, he does really have that frame that he might be able to stretch it out to be that right tackle spot if needed in future endeavors. But Nito, I do see him as a plug and play, getting some time, but probably not enough to meet that more than 5 games to not be a red shirt. So I do see Nito, the big man from Allen, Texas, more than likely being a redshirt. And Jamon Tapp, the edge rusher from Louisiana, someone that we stole from the boot. We have back-to-back edge rushers here. The 6'3", 245-pound man was just outside the nationally rated 100 as he's 107 overall. And this edge rusher is might possibly move into defensive tackle, might move into that 3 technique. My personal opinion might bolster up that body. But as an edge rusher, I do see him as a plug and play. And with these guys, these bodies on the defensive line and these edge rushers, not really exactly sure which ones will emerge late and which ones will not emerge at all and which ones bodies will need to develop. So it's really hard to really nail down the coffin here with these defensive linemen and edge rushers. So don't really hold me to it is what I'm saying. I don't see Jamon Tapp as really getting in his 5 games. I do see him more than likely plug and play, spot plug and play. With that being said, 3-4 games, getting in the rotation, getting in the mix a little bit early, a little bit late, but not often enough. When it comes to Justice Finley out of Hewitt, Trussville, Alabama, this edge rusher, 6'2", 255 pounds, books in ball, brains in ball is the reason why he chose the University of Texas Longhorns. I do see him making waves, not going to be a redshirt candidate here. Probably going to get in 6 games, going to get into the mix. As these edge rushers, we are very thin on that position, and this is going to be a player whose body, as far as a muscular development, is ready enough to get in the allotted games. From a stat line standpoint, probably going to have 2 to 3 pass deflections, probably going to have 2 to 3 sacks if he does get in those 6 games for the Texas Longhorns. Very excited about this edge rusher from the great state of Alabama. Next, our first safety product from Aledo, Texas, the state title contender year in, year out, the House of Champions, the Aledo Bearcats, and Brian Allen Jr. is a track and smack safety who is going to be looking for playing time straight away, man. Absolutely not going to be a redshirt candidate, not going to be a starter, but definitely is going to be getting in reps early and often as a 6 foot tall, 185, probably closer to 190, 192 pounds once camp is all settled down and he is in the fall rotation right around when it's time for September 3rd to come around. And whenever does Alabama comes to play, he will be on that field. Some for the Texas Longhorns. Most definitely not going to be a redshirt. Don't see him as a starter, but I do see him getting some reps. Brennan Thompson, much anticipated speedster out of Spearman, Texas, man. Whenever you're talking about someone who can fly all gas and no brakes, someone who can take the top off the defense, you are 100% talking about this speedster from Spearman. 5'10", 5'11", 165 pounds. He's a little bit of a tiny guy, but speed to burn, nationally rated 131 pounds, coming out of that slot position. Will play a little bit on the outside, but most definitely as a slot receiver. And ever since we did have the big man fall, Isaiah Nayor, the other wide receiver, probably gonna get in some massive reps. Not a starter, but someone who's not gonna be redshirted by my estimation. The speedy speedster from Spearman will see some time on the 40 as a true freshman. And rounding him on out at cornerback, Jalen Gilbo. Did he go to TCU? He made that commitment, but he ultimately signed the dotted lines from the Texas Longhorns. And the Port Arthur Memorial prospect, 5'11", 175 pounds, has already made his impact. I do not see this guy riding the bench all year long. Without a doubt, is going to see some snaps. May not push for a starting cornerback position, may not push for a starting nickel position or any other defensive back position, but will most definitely see some reps for the Texas Longhorns. Very excited to see what this prospect is going to bring to the 40. Dre Bledsoe from Arlington, Martin Test prospect. Bit of a prospect himself, a project prospect, 6'4", 270 pounds. He was nationally rated in the 200 as 174 overall. And he is a bit of a project as he is an athletic specimen. And with these defensive linemen, they're all going to get some play. They're all going to get to be able to abuse their bodies and see what they're going to do. And Dre Bledsoe is definitely going to be in the mix for that. Will he be a starter? Absolutely not, but I don't see him redshirted either. With these guys on the defensive lineman, it is going to be hard to say how many reps they are going to get. Malik Murphy, without a doubt, boom, stamp it, is going to be a redshirt candidate, as we do have a third-string quarterback already, going to be on the 40 already. Malik Murphy, a big, tall prospect, 6'6", 230 pounds, a big-time playmaker out of the Jupiter Sierra, California. Came in hobbled, came in with a boot, but he needs to study it up, learn Steve Sarkisian offense, and he will be fine, folks. Jaden Blue, man, you don't redshirt running backs anymore. Everybody knows that. If the kid can play, the kid's going to come in and play. And Jaden Blue can make plays in and out of the backfield and can also be a three-down back for you. Won't be a starter, won't get significant reps, but man, like I said, you don't anticipate redshirting your highly touted four-star running backs. Christopher Ross, another defensive lineman. We went heavy here. As I did say, we had 8 defensive linemen in this class of 2022. North Shore prospect, big-bodied interior defensive lineman guy, 6'3", 280 pounds. Needs to bolster up that body. Would like to see him right around the 295 pounds, but you know, coming from North Shore, they have a great strength and conditioning program. All those guys have tree trunks, and I look forward to watching Chris Ross play his first time on the 40. But that's going to wrap up the video. That's going to wrap it up. Please give a thumbs up, man, and please like this video. And if you have not already, subscribe to the channel. Does take a lot of effort, does take a lot of ability to get up here and talk to you guys sometimes. But with that being said, love where we are with this class in the class of 2022. Have some major impact players, some players most definitely in the offensive line that are going to have the ability to play and play often, right? Whenever you're talking about Banks and DJ Campbell and Cole Hudson, 3 players that I think ultimately are going to be starting at one point for the Texas Longhorns. I know that sounds kind of sort of crazy to say. Savion Red, very excited about that young man. Malik Murphy, we're redshirting him, but man, don't count your chickens whenever it comes to the quarterback position. I know that we do have Arch Manning come in. We have the very talented Quinn Ewers, but man, do not count out Malik Murphy whenever it does count on time for Arch Manning to come into the fold. But very excited about this class. Leave your comments down below. Keep your head in the swivel, your eyes on Texas. Hook 'em up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that post notification silver bell so you know when I upload the second video featuring starter Cole Hudson, player Ethan Burke, and another player Cameron Williams, the big man on campus.